okay to stay at, well, if it's 6:33, okay.
Yeah.
It's 6:33 on Monday, November 16th, 2015, and I'd like to call the special board meeting for Seminole Public Schools to order. Roll call, please.
Haley B.
Here.
Jack Hagenbeck. Amy Cole-Fleischer. Claudia Willis.
Here.
Nikki Upton.
Here.
Item number 3, consent agenda. All of the following items which concern reports and items of a routine nature normally approved at board meetings will be approved by one vote unless any board member desires to have a separate vote on any or all of these items. The consent agenda consists of the discussion, consideration, and approval of the following items. A, the minutes, number 1, October 12, 2015 regular meeting, 2, October 22nd, 2015 special meeting. B, financial reports, 1, activity accounts, 2, treasurer's report. C, encumbrances and changes as follows. 1, general fund, fiscal year 16, number 1184 through 1542, and item 50,000 through 50,356. C2, child nutrition fund, fiscal year 16, number 29 through 30, and number 50,016. D, fundraisers. E, contracts, Seminole State College for the Euler Park baseball field. And F, resignations, Diana O'Connell, effective immediately.
Make a motion we approve the consent agenda.
I have a couple of questions,
Sure.
if I might. Bill, so maybe I should know this, but we have an indoor air quality. Bill, where was that at? And
We did an indoor air quality test on every building.
oh, okay.
So that's for our entire campus.
Is that a yearly thing, or is it something?
No,
we just
it's
want
just something with the situation we came out of. I felt like it's something we need to do either on a semi-annual basis, or, well, not semi-annual, but every year, every 2 years, just to make sure that air quality is taken care of.
It's a good idea. So is there going to be a month, or when will we get the results from
We
that
should
meeting?
get the report by next month.
Okay.
And how often will we do that? Do you think?
Well, I would say every 2 years.
Okay.
I don't think things are going to get out of control in a period of time of 2 years, but they did an extensive test. We spent about 3 days on all of our sites. So I think they did, I don't, Ed was telling me how many tests they took at each building, so, but it was pretty comprehensive.
That's good.
That's great.
I'm glad we did that.
Also, this Follett School Solution hosted online service, what is this? For $5,000?
That's part of our alternative ed. Library, okay.
Oh,
Follett's library.
okay. Okay, just curious. And the last one is mileage for technology needs.
That's what we pay, as far as Mr. Marshall and Mr. Osmond. The mileage that they put on their vehicles, we pay them mileage.
We pay the standard federal rate,
Yes.
57.5,
What, 50?
less than that. That's a lot of miles. The current now, or just guessing what it would be
No,
for the year?
it's an encumbrance for the year.
Okay. Okay, so we expect them to have 4,000 or 5,000 miles this year.
Right, we've never done this with these people before, but we pay all of our employees for the travel time on their vehicles,
Okay,
whatever, so.
I understand. Thank
But
you.
isn't it just a blanket? I mean, they turn in
Right.
their mileage, because I remember sometimes
They have to turn in
don't use all of
a
that
monthly mileage log.
This is an encumbrance like
Right,
we talked about.
right.
I understand. Thank you.
Questions?
Oh, man.
Okay. Do I have a second? We have
I'll
a motion.
second the consent agenda.
Okay, roll call, please.
Haley B.
Yes.
Jack Hagenbeck.
Yes.
Claudia Willis. Yes. Nikki Upton.
Yes.
Item 4, discussion and possible action to allow public participation at the November 16, 2015 special meeting in accordance with Seminole Public Schools Board Policy Handbook 1.8.13. Do I have a motion?
So I'd like,
Oh, sorry.
Go
Make a
ahead.
motion
Go ahead.
Okay.
that we allow public discussion in accordance with our standard policy for regular meetings.
I second that.
Roll call, please.
Kay Levy?
Yes.
David Hill?
Yes.
Claudia Willis?
Yes.
Ricky Apple?
Yes.
Item 5, introduction of guests and public discussion by those who requested audience.
I would,
Go ahead.
okay, I understand why we did that. But this 1.18.3, 1.8.13, that's not the actual, we're just allowing the public discussion policy
Just for this
pursuant to
meeting.
this policy that allows us to amend or suspend.
We're waiving
Right.
our own policy.
Okay.
Which our policy is, it just suggests we have a public audience at regular meetings. It doesn't say
Okay.
you can't at special meetings, but just to make
Right.
it clear. So, and if I may remind everyone, please try to keep it at a 3-minute limit. There's quite a few people that want to speak tonight, and I'm not a good judge of if that's 30 minutes worth, because that is our typical length, but we can possibly extend that possibly if the board elects to. So, but just 3 minutes per person. So I'd like to call these out in order, please. Reena Lay.
Just talk right into the mic, please.
On Facebook, when he broke the news to me, it was like someone stabbed a knife in my heart. I love Officer Willie like my dad. I only think you should reconsider this, because it is killing me and hurting me on the inside. I'm starting to blame myself. That is all my fault, that I caused it. Thank you.
Sure. Can I read it for you, Reena?
Yeah.
Okay, this is Reena Lay, and I'm reading her words that she's typed out. Words cannot express how bad it hurts me that me and Officer Willie can't be friends on Facebook. When he broke the news to me, it was like someone stabbed a knife in my heart. I love Officer Willie like my dad. I really think you should reconsider this because it's killing me and hurting me on the inside. Plus, I'm starting to blame myself that it's all my fault and that I caused it. Thank you.
Thank you, Reena. Melvin Moran.
I want to commend the school board for locating, interviewing, and hiring Bill Weldon as your interim school superintendent. Superintendent Weldon has endeared himself to this community. Everyone with whom I have spoken believes he is doing an amazing job. Using my industry as an illustration, when you hired Mr. Weldon, you not only struck oil, but you found a gusher. When you have a good oil well, you do not drill deeper. If you do, you are liable to end up with a dry hole. I hope you will hire him as your permanent superintendent, and soon. As you consider solutions regarding the high school building, I hope you will not make your decision with a 3-2 vote. If you do, the chances of that solution becoming a reality, in my opinion, are 0. And this is why. Whatever you decide, the community must approve bonds with a 60% approval. In almost any community, 20% of the voters will vote no when asked to approve additional taxes. Therefore, to reach the 60% threshold, you need a yes vote from 75% of the 80% of voters. In my opinion, this is impossible if the school board is divided. How about a 5-0 vote? That would be much better, but you're not there yet. To be successful, you need the support of the community. Seminole has an outstanding Chamber of Commerce. I suggest you ask the Chamber Board of Directors to appoint a committee to work with you on your selection Superintendent Weldon is highly respected by the chamber and would be the perfect liaison. It's important that the chamber board endorses whatever you decide. I would encourage you to also work with our city government. City officials will be your friends and supporters if you will allow them to have input. Lay out your plans to Seminole Civic Clubs. Civic club members can make positive things happen. Seminole has more amenities than any city our size in Oklahoma, but nothing is more important than the city school system. Nothing is more important within the school system than its high school. Your decision will not only affect families with children, it will affect the entire community. It will affect decisions made by industries considering Seminole as a place in which to locate. Your decision will affect change for good or for bad, for better or for worse. It will help our city prosper, or it will contribute to its decline. Jasmine and I love this city. That's why what you do is so important to us, as well as to every person in our community. We need a plan we can all endorse. In summary, I hope you will work with our community, and I believe our community will work with you. Again, widespread community support of any plan you put forth must be secured before a bond issue can be passed. Any plan without widespread community support is a waste of time and money. Thank you.
Mr. Paul Campbell.
Good evening. My name is Paul Campbell. I'm the president and CEO of Envirosystems. It's an exciting time for Envirosystems. We're located here in Seminole. We have a modern facility. We have customers that you may have heard of. Embraer in Brazil, Booster Westland in Italy, Cessna right up the road in Kansas. And we have enough business to grow by 25%. We'll probably grow by 50% over the next 3 or 5 years. So why is that important to this board? We need to be able to attract the best and brightest to Seminole. We need degreed engineers. We need supply chain professionals. We need precision machinists. And we can't do it with a condemned high school in our backyard. We can't do it with a grocery store set up to retain our high school students. So this isn't a threat to the city of Seminole. This is a warning. I have no obligation to keep this business in Seminole. None. I want to. I really want to. But for us to stay here, we've got to attract the right people. So let me give you a few things, a few stories that might help cement this and how serious we are here. We've been lucky enough to recruit 13 high-paying individuals over the past few months. 9 of those 13, 9, have chosen not to live in Seminole. The average pay of those 9 employees is $92,000 a year. That's almost $1 million that's not in this town. And the number one reason by far is that the school system here is broken and this school board doesn't know what they're doing. I like to choose to believe that that's not the case, that you do know what you're doing, that there is a plan. And so I'm asking you, as a community leader, as someone that employs high-tech jobs, that you get your act together and you come up with a plan to build a new school that we can all center around and gather around and really make this city something special, because it is. Thank you.
Russ Parry.
Hi, my name is Russ Parry. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a teacher over at Bow Lakes High School. I'm glad to be following Paul, actually, because what I have to talk tonight about is pretty exciting. I don't know if any of you guys have seen the commercials with the spacesuit lady. She talks about the XQ Super Schools. There is a project funded by someone in America, maybe somebody like a high-tech industry or somebody, who's going to give $50 million to 5 separate school systems. Brand new school systems, innovative, create your own school system. You don't have to start with the school board, you don't have to start with the state, you can start however you would like to, but it's called the xqsuperschool.org. There was one deadline that's already been missed. November the 15th was a concept creation. It's okay if you missed it. In February of 2016, the design and development phase will have to be put in. So a team needs to be created, a design and development needs to be put in by February the 16th. Some 5 different people, 5 different teams, I want you to understand this, 5 different teams across the United States will each get $10 million to build a school. Create a team, please. If you don't have a team or you don't want to create a team, you're welcome to come over to my team, rtarpy@bowlegs.k12.ok.us. I'm going for more of a rule-setting school. You guys are, I consider you guys, being from Bowlegs, a little bit more industrial and urbanized. So I had some presentation materials, but I was trying to keep this to 3 minutes, and I take any questions if anybody has any. But the most important things are xqsuperschool.org is the website. Create a team. Get out there. Try to get your $10 million.
Mr. Tim Matthews.
Good evening. I'm Tim Matthews, Executive Vice President of Cut Energy Services, and I'd like to reiterate what the gentleman from Enviro said. We also employ numerous engineers, and out of the 18 that we have on our payroll, there's 2 that live here. And going forward, it's going to be imperative that we get the brightest talent that we can and hopefully have them located here in Seminole. Now, I've watched this go on now for the last year, and I really thought we were going to end up with a solution, preferably a new school system. But even when the bond failed, I've been waiting on this new plan, and we're not getting anywhere. This community needs this high school, and we can't continue doing what we're doing. It's going to blow up in our face, and it'll be our fault if we let it happen. In regards to the superintendent, I've had the pleasure of meeting Bill, working with him. I'll tell you what, he is a true asset, and I would encourage you to retain him. Thank you.
Steve Saxon. That's huge. I run away. Oh. No. Not a problem. Mr. Jeff Fine.
Thank you. The reason I'm here today is to express support for rehiring Mr. Weldon on a permanent basis. He's done a fine job since you hired him this past summer. Not only has he done his work with the schools, he has gotten involved with the community. He has come to almost every community function that I've been involved with. This is what great leaders do. They go out of their way and get involved and go above and beyond the call of duty. Since he has been employed by Seminole Schools, he has very much illustrated his desire to do this. Additionally, he brings ample experience, which we need to move forward. We urge you to go ahead and rehire him immediately or permanently when you make that decision. Secondly, we would like to also be involved and help in any way we can with this process of a new school, and sooner rather than later. As you heard the gentleman, we hate to lose businesses, and It's a bad thing for the community, and I think it's time to come together and get this done. And that's really all I have to say. Thanks for letting me speak again.
Stephen Parks.
Wanted to thank you guys for letting me speak. This is actually my first school board meeting of any kind. Didn't even attend them when I was a student in Shakota. I'm one of the owners of Blue Wave Boats, and like Paul, a pretty large employer for the area. We currently employ about 130 people, and we've had the blessings of growth this year. And one of the key things for that growth is being able to hire and recruit the employees needed to achieve that growth. And we're currently looking for approximately 12 basic skill positions, and we're looking for 10 to 12 high-level or management skill positions. We're having difficulty hiring those for various reasons, but you know, in the basic skill positions, we can teach somebody how to build a boat, but what we need is help from parents and anything that the school board can do and the teachers and everybody to teach a child how to keep a job. Just the basics, you know, show up each day, be on time, stay off your phone, be productive, you know, work for the betterment of all the team members around you. And it will help these kids reach the goals they want in life. The higher skill positions in our industry is a little bit more difficult. There's a lot of engineers or machine operators and things, but there's not a lot of people in Oklahoma that know how to build boats. So we have to recruit those from usually out of state and steal them from other businesses within our industry. 90% of the people that we interview for those positions, these higher level or management positions, are people with family and kids in the school system. And undoubtedly the questions about the business, pay, incentives, all of that is important, but it immediately goes to the city, the school systems, the athletics, everything that is important to somebody with a family. And honestly, the homework that these guys do has come back in the last 2 or 3 months with a condemned school, kids going to school in an old grocery store, and this is from them just talking in the community, maybe at a restaurant or getting gas at the gas station or reading the paper. And I can't tell you how difficult it is to recruit somebody and try to be positive when all they hear is negatives about the most important thing in their lives, which is their kids. So I can give you my experience because we moved our business and our family here 10 years ago. We took a tour of the facilities in Seminole, and one of the most important things that stood out to me was the Crown School over near the high school. It was, you know, newly constructed, had a lot of great features. You know, they didn't talk about, you know, heritage and things like that right away. We got to see a new school, fresh paint, you know, new features such as tornado shelters, lockdown features, things to make your kids safe, a lot of educational stuff to help build their futures. And that really stood out to us, and it was a big factor in moving our families and at the time about 40% of our employees to the city. Now when we talk about recruiting people and trying to get them to come to our job here in Seminole, we're running in the same thing Paul had spoken about. They may want to work in Seminole or find it okay to work in Seminole, but they're not going to live here. We were lucky enough, the last management position we hired, he didn't have kids in school, so it wasn't as big of a factor. But the other positions, they're going to live in Shawnee or somewhere that is more productive, more positive, and seem to offer more to the family. The employees that are here are going to continue to struggle to hire. The employees looking to recruit to Seminole, they're going to find it very difficult to invest millions of dollars to build a new facility or to do anything here in Seminole if we can't see a combining of the community, the school board, and all of its leaders towards an investment in the future. From a business perspective, if we're going to invest, we need to see an investment from everybody else as well. You know, I certainly don't want to move my kids out of the school system, but I can tell you it is a possibility. If we don't get a new school system that we can be proud of, that we can build from, and that really shows the pride that I see a lot, both young and old people here in Seminole. And I just want to see us make the right decisions. Don't flush money down the drain. Don't invest in something you're not going to get a return. That's what we're going to see and teach our kids. That's the actions that we have to put forward. Thank you.
Benjamin Heath.
Thanks for letting me speak tonight. So Benjamin Heath, I'm the CFO and the interim CEO at Alliance Health Seminole. Very important for the hospital to provide quality care for the citizens of Seminole. We have a great hospital. The difficulty I have right now is I can't recruit administrators, I can't recruit doctors, I can't recruit registered nurses to Seminole because of the problem with the school system. Help me help the citizens of Seminole. Seminole's a great town. It's hard for me to say, Holdenville boy. But it's a great town. We have a great hospital. We can provide quality care here. Help me bring the physicians, the nurses, the administrators here to Seminole by building a new school. Thank you.
Lisa Cobb.
Thank you. As Mrs. Levy said, my name is Lisa Cobb, and I think I know a lot of you here, and I'm really glad to see a large group of people from the community here tonight. When I first arrived, I was not going to say anything, but then the longer I sat, I thought, yes, I am. I would like to say, first of all, that I fully support Mr. Bill Weldon. He came to our school system in a circumstance that everyone who watches the news, everyone who reads the paper knows it wasn't a pleasant situation. He was willing to come regardless of that. He knows we have baggage. He knows that we have issues and tough issues, nothing easy. Yet he brings experience. He brings a work ethic. He has the support of his teachers. He has the support of his administrators. And if you've listened, he has the support of this community. That speaks very well of how Mr. Weldon has engaged himself in our community. And Mr. Weldon, I want you to know, I don't work for the school system anymore, but if I did, I'd be proud to work for you. I appreciate the job you're doing and the effort that you have shown. I'd also like to say that if you've listened to the people who have spoken in these community times where people are allowed to speak, people want a new school. People don't want to throw money into a money pit. We want what's best for our kids. Our kids deserve better. Our teachers deserve better. And it's up to you all as representatives who are elected to do the right thing for our children. I would ask you to put aside any personal differences that you have. Before I came tonight, I was reading the Weekend Producer, and I always enjoy reading Mr. Kaufman's article. I thought he was spot on. It's time to put things aside. It's time to work together. Great schools mean great communities. We don't have a great school, we won't have a community. So let's work together, let's join forces, and let's all push forward to the same goal of providing what's best for our kids. Get our kids out of a grocery center, converted call center, whatever it is. Let's get them into an educational environment where they can learn. Thank you.
Chris Anson.
I thought I only had 2 minutes, so maybe I can do it in 3. My name is Chris Anson, and I'm here tonight because of item number 14, which appears to me to be a precursor to spending money at the old high school. I want to spend a little time in telling you why I feel like the voters at that last election were misled. I feel like in the role I have as a city councilor, I have a duty to speak up for those people who may have been misled. Members on this board let a campaign mislead voters into thinking there was a plan for a new high school at a central campus, which they could vote on later. Where did this come from? I have a dream of a brand spanking new high school was a statement Ms. Colclasure made last November, leading into her motion committing to a central campus promise and building a new high school in the proximity of the old one. This was seconded by Mr. Cadenhead, and of course we all know that was defeated, and in its place we were given Harvey Road. Now, the unwillingness of this board to discuss a new high school is a disservice to everyone, especially those who were misled. Rather than be about whether voters supported a new high school, the election ended up being about the location, and you let it happen. The voters did not say, spend as much or more to repair that old building rather than build a new one. Trying to use that election as a guide for the future of this district leaves little doubt as to why so many people are still so upset. It is irresponsible to spend money on the old high school without knowing the complete cost and having complete plans in place to finance it. We have heard the estimates, and I would like an explanation of how you are going to pay for the repairs necessary to reopen that building. Do you expect everyone to settle for a Band-Aid fix? Help me understand your actions. Before adopting the 2030 plan, the city encouraged everyone, the schools, the hospitals, businesses, and citizens to give their input. They were given multiple opportunities to do so. Shouldn't long-term planning for the school system have as much input? It's bad enough that the condition of this school district deter business from locating here, but now we may be losing industry because of it. Such an occurrence will have a negative effect on everyone. As a parent and a city councilor, I am concerned that you do not have the best interest of our children or this community as your focus. Our children are the future. Every child who wants to learn and every teacher who pours their heart and soul into the education of these children deserve the best. If you aren't willing to fight for that, why are you here? This community's future belongs to everyone, and not just 3 school board members and the people with whom you meet behind closed doors.
I'm Steve Schopes. I'm just a community member, small business owner. You've heard from the large businesses, the large employers in town. I'm here to speak for the small employers. We are being hurt by what's going on here. When people aren't hired, people aren't brought to live in our community, it affects especially those of us in the service industry, and we do not get, our business does not grow. It suffers. This has been going on since the election for 8 months now. There isn't a plan. There's no concrete action towards getting towards a plan. This is a crisis. And we should be in complete crisis mode. My proposal to the board is that this board, at the very least, meet twice monthly, if not every week, until this crisis is completed and taken care of. This is something that is the most important issue in Seminole right now. We are the laughingstocks of the state of Oklahoma. This is a huge issue, needs to be dealt with immediately. Only other comment I have, and it's just a comment. It's interesting, I've been coming to these meetings for almost 8 months now, and I've yet to see one person since the election stand at this podium in support of renovating the old high school. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Steve Saxon. I brought a little light reading for you all. Help yourself. You can take this home and get it back to me anytime. But I brought this a little bit in jest, but also for effect. I sent a letter to Kay Levy. I've sent one to Mr. Weldon, and previously I sent one to Mr. Pritchard with regard to the city's position, and I'm here tonight as a city manager, not as a parent as I have appeared in the past. You've heard from people tonight that total probably employ somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,200 people. One of them could not be here tonight, but he asked me to say the same thing. He wants to see a new high school in a different location that he can recruit managers to. That would be Bar S. They need to be able to recruit talent, and that's not any different These people need hope. Our people need hope. I don't want to go into any more bargaining sessions with my firefighters and police and have them ask me if I'll take out the clause that requires them to live in Seminole. Do we have to live in Seminole? That stabs me in the heart. But they want a place for their children to be able to thrive. We need to give them an opportunity. These are city codes. We are part of your team. All right? You may not like our position. It really doesn't matter. We're blocking for you. It doesn't matter to us if you score the points, we score the points, the college scores the points. It doesn't matter. We're on the same team. Okay? We want to help you achieve what you need to achieve to get our kids, our employers, small business people satisfied with the product that we're putting out there. The reason I brought these and the reason that I wrote those letters was to emphasize the fact that we're not really the bad guys. We're just in charge of enforcing the laws, okay? When the state of Oklahoma sets out and adopts these books and says these are the codes by which all buildings and reconstruction, remodeling will take place, they tell us and they dictate to us, and eventually as a charter city, we have to adopt these and say, fine, we will, with our code enforcement officers and firefighters, employ these and make sure that any buildings that are renovated or constructed in Seminole will meet these codes. This is not an optional thing. It's not that I want to be a bad guy and enforce these on the old high school. Quite the opposite. We have not, I've heard the word condemnation several times tonight. We have not taken official action to condemn it, all right? We don't want to put a death knell and make it to a point where that building has to be torn down. Personally, I see value in that historic structure. I've had a son that graduated from there. I'm pretty sure he doesn't want me to tear down his old high school. When he comes home to visit, he wants to be able to go by the old high school. But it's not effective as an education facility. We can do something else, maybe better. We're on your team. That's what I want to leave you with. We want to help you solve the problem. We don't want to be a thorn in your side and force you or condemn the school for condemnation and make it have to be torn down. That's not our mission. We're not here to be bad guys. We're here to block for you. All right? We want you to score the touchdown. These people are asking you to go score. Rah, rah, rah. Let us help. We're here to help you. Thank you.
Oh, that's fine. But I'd like to take the opportunity to thank all of you for speaking. It's not easy to get up and address a school board, especially in a situation that we've all been trudging through for so long. So I really appreciate all your words, and it means a lot to all of us, I'm sure. So thank you. Okay, item number 6, administrative report.
Well, this is a little bit of a broken record, but we're continuing to address the issue as far as sound at the high school. Enviro has sent their engineers up and have done a thorough study there. We've come up with a solution, but it's a pretty expensive solution. It's in the tune of about $60,000 it would take to help that situation. In the meantime, we've talked with the college, well, not the college, but the foundation, to look at other options that may be feasible. Ed's worked with the fire department to make sure we're still within code. So there's some things that we're going to experiment with a couple of rooms to see if it makes a difference, and if it does, then it may be it'll help the situation down there with the way it is right now. So anyway, I'll know more about that next month after we experiment with some of this stuff. Just got through going through a Carl Perkins audit, on-site audit. One of the policy changes I'm asking you to adopt tonight is as a result of that. as far as the tagging of equipment that we purchased with federal money. We've gone through an energy audit. We're in the process of the second month of energy audit with OG&E. Some of that is going to be some pretty extensive savings if we choose to adopt those. One of them is the smart meter will save us over $22,000 over a 3-month period of time. We also want to audit a type of a system now that pretty much cuts off our computers. You think, well, they don't burn that much, but as many as we've got, we cut the power off on those so they go into the sleep mode. It saves some energy, around $2,000–3,000 a month. FEMA grant applications, I've talked to you about that earlier. The application has been submitted. The hazardous mitigation has gone to Oklahoma City for approval. I've contacted a guy from Wetumpka, I think is where he's from. Anyway, we're in the process of going ahead and make sure we have a grant on file when that application is approved for safe rooms in one of our school systems, in one of our locations. The one we're looking at right now is over at Wilson. As you know, at Wilson, we've got 2 portable buildings that are attached to the west end of that building, and I think that'd be a good place to put a safe room. Obviously, we've been working with architects throughout the month to respond to some of the questions they had in answering the questions that the board had. So those have all come in good shape there. I'll be traveling to West Watkins tomorrow to look at the midterm funding for Seminole Public Schools. It's a real good indication so far that, you know, originally we received a 5% cut in our state aid allocations. We're to expect at least a 10% for the remainder of the year, and with anticipation of another 10% for next year. So that means over a period of less than 2 years, we're going to take a 25% cut in our state aid. Thank goodness that we have some type of a carryover to help it get through the lean times. Another project that we're working on, and I know a lot of these things center around the high school, but we're trying to do things down there that will make this a better place for these kids in the short time that they're there. I've asked Ed to come up with some figures, dimensions as far as to build a portable science lab down there. That science lab would be a 24-by-60 building. I've asked Gordon Cooper to assist us with as far as some of the drawings to draw that up, and we think we've got some local architects here in town that would possibly put their stamp on that for us to have it approved. And you think, well, that's kind of silly. It's just a 24-by-60 building, but anything that students are in has to have an architect's signature on it. So we're going to make sure we get that thing done right. But anyway, next month I'll be coming to you with some figures as far as what that's going to be. For us to go out and, now we could go out and rent one or lease one, and it's going to cost us nearly as much over a 2-year period of time, or 18 months, as what it would cost us to build this one. So we're excited about that. The next thing is something I'm not real proud of. I've been doing this for over 40 years. I have never experienced bed bugs, ever. I brought this up in a meeting with superintendents last week, and there was only one superintendent in the whole crowd that had ever heard anything about the bed bug. We think we have these under control. To the best of our knowledge, we do. BLS was probably the hardest one hit. We've gone to some extensive lengths to make sure that that's been taken care of. There has been some 1 or 2 sightings at the high school. Mr. Rigney and his staff, they've addressed those ASAP. We had a exterminator from Extreme come in last week, and there's no visible signs of any of those things, those little bugs, on campus at this time. We put the information on the website. Some people wanted to criticize over that, but I just felt like that's the best way to get the message out, the best way to let people know how to address that whole situation. So we've worked with the health department, we've worked with DHS, we've worked with the city. Everyone has been very, very cooperative to help us take care of that problem. The only other thing is in your next board packet, there'll be some dates for next year. I know we've run into some problems this year as far as board meeting dates. And I think right off the bat, it looks like the January, we may have a conflict there too, so you might want to kind of check your calendars before the next board meeting when we approve these meetings for our regular meeting for the 2000 calendar year for 2016. So anyway, I think our principals have got some other things they need to visit with you about.
I get to report from the happiest place on earth, where our littlest ones are. We went to the pumpkin patch, kindergarten did, Cornerstone Kids Ranch, and that is a wonderful place because not only do they get to walk through the pumpkin patch, they get to ride a train, they get to go to a petting zoo, so that was a wonderful time. Red Ribbon Week was a success. It's always a wonderful thing from the ground level to start teaching kids about saying no to drugs and other things. You would be surprised at some of the stories that they come up with, talking about drugs and worried about their parents. Maybe they take Tic Tacs or some of those things, and we have to say, oh, that's not drugs, but it's a wonderful thing. Kindergarten Veterans Day was a wonderful day. One of the things that is remarkable is whenever in our crowded cafeteria, when I say, please stand if you're a veteran, and to see those daddies, mommies, grandmas, and grandpas stand, and the kids go, oh, that's mine, and to get to teach them how proud we are of their loved one because of their sacrifice and their serving our country. It's just a wonderful day. Tomorrow and Wednesday, Wilson and BLS both have professional development. Our math curriculum that we adopted, we're proud to say we've adopted this more rigorous curriculum from kindergarten through the 6th grade. And so we are going to have the experts come out to make sure that we are using it to its fullest potential, and we're excited to learn over the next 2 days. Kindergarten and pre-K will start on a book study about reading best practices. I'm really proud of our staff and what they've done as far as increasing our reading, but we're going to never stop learning, and so the book study starts. We're going to be learning about teach this, not that, no more letter of the week, so and how that marches along with our curriculum. Bed bugs. I told Mr. Weldon that I think I'm going to get the reputation of the bed bug lady because I've become an expert on bed bugs. With the first sighting of bed bugs, we were surprised and kind of went into a whirlwind of learning about them and learning how to prevent them. One of the measures that we took at BLS is to stop all backpacks and bedding to come into the building, hoping that any transmission that might happen from people's homes would stop. But what I want to say most about the bed bug situation is how proud I am of our teachers who have spent hours and hours above instruction on exterminating and all of the things that had to take place before the building was exterminated. They had to pack up all of their closets, bag everything up, and put it in the center of the room. And they had kids, and they were teaching in the middle of all of this. So I want to say how proud I am of them for doing that, and I heard not one complaint. So I'm blessed at BLS. Thank you for the opportunity to address your tonight.
Good evening. On October 23rd, we kicked off Red Ribbon Week with Mr. Russell Baker. He's a ventriloquist and substitute teacher that substitutes all over our district. He did an anti-drug program for our students. The students really enjoyed it. Mr. Baker did a great job with the presentation. It was funny, it kept the kids' attention, and they learned a lot of valuable lessons about drugs and how to say no to drugs. Tammy Cole and I attended a seminar in Norman on November the 2nd and 3rd. It was called Fitting It All In and Balancing Academic Rigor and Children's Needs. It was wonderful. It was full of good information and strategies that boost the effectiveness of instruction while meeting the developmental needs of all learners. We also received 2 books each that were packed full of great ideas and lessons. On Friday, November 6th, our 3rd grade students honored all veterans with a musical program. The program was student-led, with the whole group welcoming all branches of the military, parents, family, and friends to the program. The gifted students recited a poem called Nathan Hale, and Jensen Dean closed the program. They all did a fantastic job. Ms. Kathy Sanders, our music teacher, did a wonderful job putting the program together and directing. And she not only teaches the kids to sing the songs, but she teaches them to sign them also. And it's always really neat to see how they latch on to that and what a good job they do with it. As Ms. Wilmot reported, we are having Envision Math Professional Development tomorrow and Wednesday. I had the opportunity to sit down with the presenter for just a few minutes this afternoon. Wonderful lady, and I'm really excited about what's going to happen tomorrow and Wednesday. Seminole Nation will be hosting Seminole Nation Days at the Wellness Center on Friday, November the 20th from 9 to noon, and we will have JOM students in 1st grade through 3rd grade visiting that event. On Tuesday before Thanksgiving, which is November the 24th, our 3rd grade students will be traveling to the Oklahoma Science Museum in Oklahoma City for their annual field trip. We usually take that trip during the spring, but we decided with transportation issues that we'd try it in the fall, and hopefully we can avoid the spring crowds also. 1st grade students of the month for October were recognized at Wilson Wow recently. 2 students were chosen from 1st grade, from each 1st grade class. The students chosen were Eli Knowles, Blake Martin, Stoney McCoy, Trenton Lloyd, Vontavious Hill, Johnny Goosetree, Zarin Simpkins, Rylan Haslam, Carrington Hardiman, Amelia Lerma, Aubrey Clear, Decasia Minner, Micaiah Hott, Chloe Euler, Kendra Whitson, and Carsey Gorman. Thank you.
Good evening. It's good to see everybody. It's been a busy few weeks at Northwood. Last week, for example, included an amazing Veterans Day program. Ms. Susan Gates did an exceptional job putting together an opportunity for our students to honor veterans. Just would like to report I received 2 phone calls from veterans just last week who received letters from our students, and they just wanted to call and personally thank the students for the letters. One was a Korean War veteran and the other was a World War II veteran. And so as they talked, they asked me, "Do you have a few minutes, hon? Can I just tell you about my experience?" And so it was really nice to hear what they had to say, but they were so thankful that our students are being taught to remember the past. I participated in a Read Your Heart Out challenge and read to as many classes as I could squeeze in. I challenged the students to also read their hearts out, and for each student who also read an AR book and passed a quiz on that, I'll be donating a canned food item in their honor for our Bedlam food drive that's going on right now. I do believe this is going to cost me. 267 students were able to accomplish the challenge and passing over 744 quizzes in just a week. That's incredible. I can't think of a better way, though, to spend my money or their time than reading and giving back to our community. If anyone would like to contribute, we have this going on. We counted today. The current count is OU has 1,148 canned items, and OSU has 1,004, so it's very close. Dalen Saxon and I have a little side challenge going on. If OU wins, he has to dress like an OU cheerleader. If OSU wins, I have to dress like an OSU cowboy, so should be fun. 6th grade basketball tipped off on Thursday, and we hosted Bing. It's a great way to start your basketball season. And Mr. Marshall is doing a great job. He's coaching both the boys and the girls, and we're very excited for basketball season to begin. We started a new tradition at Northwood a few years ago to have a mini pep assembly the week of playoffs. So we're always excited that our chieftains are in the playoffs. The band, cheer, pom, coaches, and many of the players came over first thing Friday morning, and we're growing Green Pride from the ground up. So we had a great time with our little mini pep assembly. Valerie Jones was honored as November Educator of the Month at Forum this last week. Valerie is in her 3rd year as a rock star 5th grade teacher. She does an exceptional job and has such a fire in her young teacher soul. I'm so proud of her. Belinda Kane was honored as our Support Staff Person of the Month. Mrs. Kane is a member of our Dynamic Reading Intervention team. Her whatever it takes attitude is such a blessing to our students. Carol Lloyd, who's here. Is Carol still here? Carol, stand up back there. I want to recognize you. She was Seminole's Teacher of the Year last year and was honored Monday night. Definitely. She was honored Monday night at East Central University as an Area Teacher of the Year. Sean Sheehan, Oklahoma's Teacher of the Year, was the keynote speaker, and what a treat. Mr. Sheehan's platform is Teach Like Me, not meaning teach like I teach, but become a teacher, because it is such an awesome job. Mrs. Lloyd and I both left inspired and charged and ready to get back to work. Our profession has taken quite a few hits over the last few years, so if you get a chance to hear him speak, I highly recommend it. You too will leave inspired, I guarantee it. We received great news that our 5th grade students were selected to participate in the Colonial Days at the Capitol this year. The 5th grade team is already collaborating with parents to make colonial costumes. Only 500 students across the state are chosen to come, and we will be taking 125 of those students. So we're really excited. We thank Mr. Brian Johnson for providing this opportunity. He filled out the paperwork and is doing all the legwork for that. Two of our teachers actually will be featuring lessons and be teaching to the other 500 students that will be there. And so finally, my very favorite part of this speech is to get to showcase some students. So Jackson, would you come up, please? This is Jackson Smith. And I want you to stay up here with me, all right? On October 27th, 12 of our students participated in the Design Your Future Exploring STEM Careers workshop held at Gordon Cooper Technology Center in Shawnee. This workshop was all based on engineering, Mr. Campbell, and pre-engineering group of the Gordon Cooper Technology Center. Students choose 2 different engineering careers, and these careers range from structural engineering, aerospace, mechanical, industrial, and electrical engineering. They attended workshops in the morning and the afternoon. Students also took a math test during lunchtime, and we were honored that Jackson Smith was the winner of first place in that math test. Yeah. He was presented a certificate, and the students loved the hands-on experience, so thank you, Jackson, for representing Northwood and Seminole schools so well. If you'll stay right here, I would like Jason and Addie to come up. This is Addie O'Daniel and Jathan Cagle. They both received the 9-week STEM awards on Monday during Chieftain Chat. This is another partnership with Gordon Cooper Technology Center. These 2 awesome students were recognized by their teachers for their outstanding performance in the areas of science, technology, engineering, and math. So I promise you, Mr. Campbell, our future is bright. All right, thank you. Good job.
Okay, as you can tell by the appropriateness of my dress, I was at the basketball game, and since half the referee crew was here, there was half as many whistles, so it got over with really quickly. All right, so the middle school principals report. Junior high football is over and basketball began last week. The junior high games are on Monday and Thursday starting at 5 o'clock p.m. if anyone's interested in coming. I'd like to thank the high school for allowing the middle school to attend the Veterans Day Assembly. It was very well done. And our students, I was very proud of the way they behaved at the assembly. They were very respectful and gave it the attention that the assembly deserved, both high school and middle school. Congratulations to our November students of the month, which are for 7th grade is Jamie Stafford and Colin Frederick. In 8th grade is Emina Foster and Jacob Lombard. Next Thursday we'll be having a junior high pep assembly, which will be this Thursday actually, since I wrote this last week. Junior high pep assembly for basketball. On Friday, the 20th, Mr. Dyckman will be taking some students to the Young Men's Vocal Workshop in Norman. Saturday 21st, our STEM students will be, this Saturday, will be competing in the Lego robot competition at Gordon Cooper Technology Center. We have middle school picture retakes on December the 3rd. And I wanted to recognize some middle school students that we had that did well in the band contest. We had
not necessarily the contest, but the all-district band. So we had Alex Deloach, which made junior high all-district band, and Charles Barlow and Kyle Werlito and Haley Mann made middle school all-district. So I want to recognize those students and congratulate them. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm a little under the weather, so I sound pretty terrible, but we'll give it the best shot we have. Hopefully I can make it through without having to get a drink here. As always at the high school, we are always very busy with lots of activities going on, so I will just highlight a few of those. First of all, we took all of our 10th grade students to Gordon Cooper Technology Center to tour their facilities. It's a great opportunity for them to see what Gordon Cooper offers, and as always, we send some of our best students to Gordon Cooper the following year, and they really enjoy that trip. A lot of those 10th graders don't know what's out there until they get to see Gordon Cooper, and you know we're so lucky to have Gordon Cooper. They do a great job with our kids. Last week we inducted a new class into the National Honor Society. Really proud of those students who worked very hard to gain that induction, and our kids did a very good job with that ceremony. We had many students took the PSAT on October 28th. We don't have all the results back, but we're hopeful that we see some good results on that PSAT. Last month, the Seminole Chamber of Commerce honored our top 10 senior students for the academic letter jacket ceremony, and we really want to thank the Chamber of Commerce. They were always so supportive of our students and especially of our high school and our top students. Happy to say that Mrs. Freedom Coker was the first Seminole student to place in the Oklahoma State University Math Day event. So we haven't done that as well as we did this year. We're really proud of her. Our high school band had 3 students that made all district: Myrna McHugh, Kimmy Estrada, and Dawson Andrews. It's quite an honor for those people, and we know how hard they work to be the very best at what they do. High school football last week made their 31st consecutive playoff appearance. Unfortunately, they fell a couple of points short, but it was a successful year anyway. And Coach Snyder really has, 31 years straight in the playoffs, is second only to Davis by 1 year. So that's impressive. An interesting activity: Mrs. Clark's 3rd and 6th hour drama classes combined with Mr. Forrester's 3rd and 6th hour mythology classes, and what they did was the mythology students wrote Greek tragedy plays, and then the drama classes acted those out. So a little bit of co-teaching there. It was really kind of fun to watch them put that together. They did costuming, they made props, they did staging. Really, it was a mini play, and then our high school teachers, some of our high school teachers, judged the competition between 3rd and 6th hour. And I believe 3rd hour came out on top. They all were rewarded with a pizza for lunch, and then the 3rd hour class had a little dessert for the win. So really a neat activity. Would like to congratulate the high school fast pitch softball team. They received the Academic Achievement Certificate from the OSSAA. That's for having a minimum cumulative GPA of 3.25, and we have some really stellar students that play softball and have represented us well. Also, some members of those softball teams, Carly Sneed and Destiny Tiger, were named to the all-conference team. Maddie Withrow and J.C. James were named all-conference and all-region. And then also J.C. Just signed to play softball at Southern Nazarene University, and Maddie Withrow signed to play softball for Arkansas Tech. So we are excited about their future, and they also will represent us well, I'm sure. And Mr. Dean kind of stole my thunder on the Veterans Day. As a principal of the high school, you really want your kids to represent you well. They are a reflection of our teachers and our administration, and I was so happy with how they acted. I take Veterans Day very seriously and very proud of that ceremony. Mr. Sheldon McCoy came and spoke, and he's an SHS grad, did a great job, and our students were perfect. I couldn't ask for a better group. So thank you for the opportunity.
And I'm sorry, there's one teacher, and we've already recognized her, but Ms. Lloyd was also recognized by Farmers Insurance as the Teacher of the Month, so congratulations again.
I'll try to be brief. A couple things before I forget. Officer Williams, if you remember him in your prayers tonight, he has pneumonia. I think since he's not here tonight, I'll take a chance to sing his praises just a minute. He's made an unbelievable difference, I think, in our truancy issues and making sure that our kids are safe at each one of the schools. I know he's worked with each one of the principals. He's just a fantastic guy to work with, and remember him tonight in your prayers. A couple of things on maintenance. We've had 936 calls for maintenance. We have 24 of those that are incomplete as we sit today. I wanted to say a word about transportation too. I want to tell you how much we appreciate the fact that you bought us 7 new buses. I don't know how we would have pulled this thing off without those new buses. They're making so many trips a day. I don't think we could have got it done without them, so thank you very much for those. For the first time since I've been here, I knock on wood when I say it, we have no roof leaks. Don't you tell me we got a roof leak. We've worked very hard. I know we had 25 at one time, probably 10 or 12 of those at Northwood alone. So we've worked very hard to try and turn that situation around. Also speaks to our air quality, I think, and I'll expand on that just a little bit. Environmental solutions specialist who came here literally went to every closet, every heater closet, every storage closet, every bin, and checked everything in our school system. We do not have the results back yet, but I will say, you know, we found some housekeeping issues, really things that we can do to do a better job, and we pointed those out. But overall, I think we looked very good. They were pleased, you know, kind of a different situation than we had with the old high school. But it looks very good, and we were proud of that. We don't have the results back yet, so I'll be cautious, but it looks very good. I think I had one more thing. I've drawn a blank. Don Scott was off today, also with his father going through some things, so also remember that family. Thank you.
On lockers at the high school?
No,
there's not really space. There's no space for that.
No, we've got them ordered to put in there. The first group we ordered them from, it was what, 39 days? They told us we'd have them within 39 days. Right. About 2 days before that, then they contacted us, and it had been back ordered, and then it was going to be another, I don't know what the length of time was, and I just said forget it, we'll go to somebody else that can handle it. So Ed has gotten with another group, and we have lockers coming in. We're hoping that they'll be in sometime right after Christmas.
Okay.
They come in during,
carrying every single thing home?
Yeah. If they come in before,
every single day.
Yeah, if they come in before the first, it'd be better for us, but we don't know that they'll be here by then, but they're coming.
Follow up from a previous discussion we had about defibrillators. We purchased a lot of defibrillators for the entire system. I was told we were going to get training on all those defibrillators.
They had the training.
And everything's good on that. Do they have them here at the high school as well, or they just at the other schools? All those sites have them?
I think they're at every site. And the training takes place before we ever start school.
Okay. I didn't remember that comment, so okay. Great, thank you.
Okay. Item number 10, board to hear 9, sorry, I'd already marked it off. Board to hear dropout report from high school assistant principal Wade Rigney.
This is short, thank goodness. This time for this period last year we had 4 dropouts, and this year we are at 2. So hopefully that number keeps going down.
result of our alt-ed program. A lot of it,
Great. Item number 10, board to hear the SEPA filter compliance report from Ed Marshall, Technology Director.
Hello, I'm Ed Marshall. I'm the new technology director. I filled I still haven't filled his shoes yet. I'm trying. But the SEPA filter is working perfectly right now. We have upgraded the SEPA filter. We did that in October. And we also updated the firmware on the SEPA filter. So everything is updated, ready to go. There was a challenge trying to do it at the new school, but we got that fixed and everything. So everybody's compliant with content filtering. No problems. And I want to thank everybody at this district for thanking the veterans. I'm a veteran, and that had to be one of the most heartfelt days that I've been to schools to see, you know, the way y'all treated us veterans. So thank you.
Item 11, discussion and possible action to add policy 4.4, inventory, to the Seminole Public Schools Board Policy Handbook.
Basically, this is as a result of our Carl Perkins on-site audit. We didn't have a board policy in place. Now, some of the equipment had been labeled, but according to state and federal regs, any equipment that exceeds $2,500 has to be marked as to the what program it went to and what funds it was bought from. So we didn't have, like I said, we didn't have a policy in place. We're adding this to an existing policy to make sure we're taking care of there. So this is, like I said, strictly from the result of the Carl Perkins audit that we need to add this to that existing policy.
Make a motion, we add the policy as proposed.
Second it. Roll call, please.
Kay Levy?
Yes.
Doug Headington?
Yes.
Claudia Willis?
Yes.
Vicki Upton?
Yes.
Item 12, discussion and possible action on the whole board training. I asked to put this back on the agenda for clarification because we talked about this last time. I actually, after speaking with OSSBA, and personally we have, like Savannah said, we have so little time to make some of the decisions that we've got to make that even though board training I feel is very, very, very important, there wasn't a huge response and excitement about it right now, and possibly that is just because we have so much on our plate already. So I would like to suggest and request that we wait until spring or just a little into next year so we can focus all of our attention, keep our schedules open for as many meetings as possible to move this process forward. So that would be...
Agreed.
Okay. And I don't know if we really need action on that.
No.
We really don't. Okay. Item 13, discussion and possible action on by-board national purchasing cooperative.
So this was my item that I got from the state meeting, and it's a cooperative, a purchasing group, which I asked you to investigate. I don't know, did you get any good information?
I did some investigation, or I just did some checking on it. I called the organization and they explained the process to me. We're not under any obligation. We're not financially or as far as buying from them exclusively. There's nothing there. I talked to in Oklahoma, there's 66 school districts in the state of Oklahoma that participate out of 500 and something. So I called two of them. One was Mounds, I know the superintendent there, and one was Bristow. I've known Curtis there a long time, and I asked them what they did. One of the schools used it exclusively to buy school buses, and he said, to be honest with you, we probably didn't save that much money, but we didn't have to go through the Competitive Bidding Act. And when I talked to Bristow, they had used it to resurface their all-weather track. And once again, Curtis said the main reason that they used it was to not have to go through the bidding process. Asked both of them as far as buying custodial supplies and different things like that, and they said, to be honest with you, you can get a better deal at Sam's, at your Home Depot, places like that. So the only significant saving is if you get into a big money item. And once again, when I talked to Superintendent Mounds, he said, I'm not sure we've really saved even that much money, but we didn't have to go through the bidding process. So if you want to sign on with it, you can. There's no cost. The way that this co-op gets paid is the vendor pays them up to 2% of the purchase price. So it's kind of, it's up to you. I mean, it's on the agenda as far as if you want to participate in this, then it's there for you.
In those situations, what was the advantage to being able to circumvent the Competitive Bidding Act?
Some people just don't like to go through that process.
But I mean, did it not? I mean,
well, like I said, now Alfred Gaseous is at Mounds, and I talked to Alfred, and he said that they bought the 4 school buses, and he said, I can't tell you we saved a whole lot of money that way. But it expedites the whole process because they don't have to go through that competitive bidding.
But sometimes that saves us money. I mean,
well, yeah, but you got to be real careful when you're either buying like that or if you're buying on the state contract. Many times the state contract is higher than you can go somewhere else and buy it. So regardless of what you're going to do, you need to check to make sure you're getting the best price wherever you go. Sometimes through the competitive bidding, in fact, you do get a better deal. But I'm just not in favor of going to, buy board or off the state contract just to say, that expedites it, and because many times you end up spending more money.
Yeah, so it was my information that I've received was it might save us some money. And
It's possible. It just kind of depends on to what extent
Right.
that you use it. But it's more or less, the people I talk to, your bigger money items are the ones that you could likely save the money on. So
we just won't buy any of those.
Big pardon?
We won't buy any of those.
Well,
I'd kind of like to, and I'm sorry for not doing it beforehand, but I'd kind of like to look at this a little more.
That's fine.
My preference would be before we act on anything. I mean,
That's
would
fine.
you like to table it or just
just
not take any action tonight?
That's fine with me.
That's fine with me. I'm kind of torn over it anyway, so.
Thanks, Bill.
All right. Thank you for bringing that information to us. Item 14, discussion and possible action to schedule a special meeting on November 23rd, 2015 for the purpose of presentation by Steve Crawford regarding things to consider when selecting a financial advisor, discussion of the cost estimate for repairs to the old high school, hiring an architect, hiring a financial advisor or project manager, and directing possible repairs to the high school. These were suggested agenda items. And the time would be 5:30 probably.
That's, I left it blank because I didn't know what the wish of the
Okay.
board would be.
Is that date, Amy has already said that date was good for her. That is next Monday night.
Right, Monday.
Monday, November 23rd.
And the time?
And the time at 5:30? Does that work for
Unless,
everybody?
Is that good for you?
That'll be fine. I'll be wherever you guys want me to be.
that works for me.
Is that okay?
So Steve Crawford's going to come speak to us. You got it all worked
Right.
out with him? Okay. So I'm interested to hear what he said. He's a pretty powerful resource.
Steve is probably one of the top financial superintendents in the state of Oklahoma.
Great. That's
That'll be helpful.
good.
That is good. That'll get, yes.
I make a motion we schedule this meeting
5:30.
accordingly. Yeah, 5:30, November 23rd, 2015.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, roll call, please.
Kay Levy?
Yes?
Kay Levy?
Yes.
Claudia Willis?
Yes.
Vicki Upton?
Yes.
Item 15, consider and take possible action to approve the executive search proposal between Seminole Public Schools and OSSBA in the selection of a superintendent. Now, this one's kind of tricky because we are scheduled to have since the last meeting when we voted to start the process for the superintendent search. It's a brand new program for OSSBA, and we haven't had the benefit of the initial what was it called?
Consultation.
Consultation. It was the initial consultation, because we kind of did things out of order. We voted to do it, which I think was interpreted by OSSBA as we kind of skipped the first step. And there was a little confusion on my part and on the part of Stephanie Hyder, who is that's sort of her baby, it's her project, and she is in charge of training all of her helpers, and she's the one that comes down. So after some conversation with her, we did choose, we did pick a date of December 1st, which is the Tuesday after Thanksgiving at, what is that, 6 o'clock? Oh, goodness.
I think so.
I think it's at 6 o'clock. And we, for her to come down and to give us to explain the proposal that she sent to us and start talking to us about the board, what we would look for in a superintendent, start the training process. She's kind of condensing it. I'm not sure that that's the best way to go about it, because I kind of think the program was designed to, to go in the order that they listed in this proposal that you all have, that I sent you all as soon as she sent it to me. I explained it one way to you all, and then when she forwarded me the information, it was a little different. It's a proposal telling us what we're going to, the order of events, but it's also kind of like a contract. And we can't really approve this as a board outside of a general, an open session. So we really need her here to explain it to us, and I confirmed that with her again, that she is going to discuss this with us on December 1st. So really, to vote on it, actually, sorry, she really would.
So I would make a motion we table this to December 1.
I think you're absolutely
This item.
right. But we can have some discussion though, too.
Yeah, for sure.
And I would really like for us as a board to really think about this process. This process is just, first of all, we do need a general consultation. But the cost of this is $6,000, the basic cost, and then there are additional fees if we want other information. In light of a lot of things that have been said here this evening, and I've also received phone calls, I think, and I just heard someone say we should be meeting regularly on the situation that we have at this time with our high school and our master plan. I really question that as a board that we should be spending our time and focus when we have a very qualified leader leading our district. I also feel that we are going to be making some very important decisions, and this school district needs the continuity and the leadership, and we do not need bringing someone in. The middle of the process could slow it down, and I hear from the people who talked and from some of the phone calls that I've received in the last week, an urgency that this board make some decisions concerning the high school and our master plan. I think to pay, even though $6,000 doesn't seem like a lot of money, I think that right now our focus really should be towards solving the issue of our school, the high school and master plan, and wait on this. This will require a lot of meetings, and as one member, I'm not sure who it was, said they would like to see us meeting more often. They want a plan. They want us to make some decisions and move forward. So that's my input. I really would like to see us table this indefinitely. We need the stability right now in making our decisions and pressing forward. That's my 2 cents. So I'd like to to see us wait.
I know I'm not supposed to speak, but I have to ask a question. Is this supposed to be televised? Is the meeting? Because when you do that on December the 1st, you're now getting into high school basketball. And that puts a real strain on what I keep in two places at once.
It'll be a special meeting, won't it?
It'll be a special
So
meeting.
that's the reason that I'm interrupting.
Well,
I apologize for that, but I do need you to take that in consideration.
It would be all of our meetings are
They're all televised.
televised, and I think it should be televised. I think the community needs to be involved and educated in the process.
And that was the date that the OSBA lady, we were very limited on it, so.
Next Tuesday, the 24th, is when high school basketball starts, then they're at home on the 1st, and they're home on the 4th. So if you would just take into consideration the other events that are going on, I would appreciate it.
Well, honestly, we're not legally bound to this proposal yet, so, we've.
We scheduled the meetings,
Yes, we did.
figure out a way to make sure that it's televised, but like I said, I'm for tabling it. I made the motion to table it to December 1.
Well, I'd like to see us just table the process.
Well, I made one motion.
Well, we've got,
Someone will second it.
we have to have a,
So I don't think we can hire any superintendent. After the contract with your company is finished, and then it's over with, and then we have to hire someone at that point.
you can,
No,
you can
we can renew.
You can continue the contract.
With Barlow.
With Barlow or Mr. Weldon.
So we have a contract with
can resign and
Barlow.
We can hire,
Right, so we have a
without-
contract with Barlow,
Right, but that can be
and
broken at any
we don't have a contract with Mr. Weldon, we have a contract with Barlow.
Your contract with
And-
Barlow is month by month.
Okay.
We did it for a year, but
Yeah.
we can get out of it at any time we make
30
it. very
30-day notice.
So I really think that it would be a disservice not to interview anyone, not to put out any information, not to talk to any single people, and just choose one person and not have any, it should be open, and it should cast as wide as net as we possibly can.
I think we need to be very careful. This item is pretty specific, and, we're getting into an item that we've already acted on nearly 2 months ago, which was to contract with the OSSBA for consultation services, and we're going back to that item, and this is just an item to approve an executive search proposal that's in the materials. We need to be careful that we don't, I'm no Open Meeting Act expert, but I think we need to be careful. So I made a motion to table this to December 1st. No one wants to second it?
I will second that motion.
Well, okay. We can still have a little bit more discussion on this, too. One of the options is to, because that is true, that is what it says on here, and if we aren't going to talk about the proposal, then, that is exactly how the agenda item is worded. Let me remind you that we aren't committed to them yet, and we can listen to her spiel on December 1st and decide then whether it's yes or no. I personally have made it clear to them myself, and to the point where they're not very happy with me, that I feel like it's too soon for us, and that we have good leadership, and they know that. They understand that we're a 3-2 split on this, or we were the other day. And one of the things, if you'll notice in this proposal, it says that all board members need to be willing to spend all the time it takes to, that is item number, let's see, adopting a timeline. Let's see where it said. It said that we all together have to be completely committed to this process. So it seems unfair. It's kind of like the high school scenario. If you're not together on this idea, why is it fair to hire a superintendent to go through all this on a 3-2 vote? We have good leadership right now, and I'm not saying we can't listen to what she has to say on December 1st. Typically, she comes down and gives a proposal, and boards either want to do it or not. They can choose to or not, or wait till later. It's a 4-month process. I know they were pushing us to do it this fall. I think we need to think about this, though, whether or not it's a good time for it, because truly that's a very, very, very important position. We could save the district $6,000 and get to know Mr. Weldon even that much more. I mean, what he has accomplished in the last 6 months is just amazing to me. And what he could do in the next 6 months would be, just as awesome. And we'd get to know him that much better, and we'd be further down the road on decision-making. And that's just, just a suggestion. Obviously, this is just about approving the the proposal. And
There's also a part in here about community input in this process. And we've heard a lot of community input this evening. So,
and that would be requested should we end up a majority voting or the whole board voting to do this. I'd be certain, well, I can't be certain for anybody's vote, but I would hope that we, would take the community involvement service, where they.
Absolutely.
So I figured you all would want to do that too.
And I think I've received a lot of phone calls as well. Now, I reckon y'all have on this item.
About?
Just about superintendent search.
Well, when we went to training, they said that there's not very many qualified superintendents in the state of Oklahoma. Well, there's just that you would find, this is what we were told at our conference training, that it's shocking how few there really are that are truly qualified. And for us to have one by chance is just a miracle to me as far as I'm concerned, and I'm very, very happy. And we didn't know Mr. Weldon from anybody. And it was just, we are very, very fortunate to have him. And, but that doesn't mean that he's our very first applicant, quasi-officially. He's already said he wanted to stay, but, and he's put his, application, his informal letter of application out there to us already. But we could, we don't have to go through the process. But we have a motion and a second on the table. So
I don't understand what the big problem is here. We've only spoke with one person.
who? You mean?
Him. I think he's done a fine job. He's done an okay job, but that's not. Shouldn't we try to cast a wider net and try to interview? This would be for any position. Would you only interview one person?
I'm going to say again,
you would want to interview as many people as you possibly could.
I'm going to say again, we've already discussed and acted on this item of doing no SSBA consultation. I mean, we're getting into a discussion that has already been had that's not really on this agenda.
Well, we don't have to take action on it.
Oh, and of course we don't.
But we are discussing the proposal.
Okay.
Which is about what you're saying. I'm not saying that it's not a good idea to interview people in a situation where you're looking for a superintendent. All I'm saying, my number one, aside from being really extremely pleased with Mr. Weldon and hoping that he stays, is that we don't need to be focusing on that right now while we are looking at figuring out the high school. The pressing needs of our community, number one is our kids are in a temporary facility.
Yes.
And we can't get around that. And it feels like we get caught up in things that are slowing down that process. And we'd have to be just superheroes to be going through all of these meetings that are necessary if we need to go visit other schools and do what it takes. Every decision we make has to be done in an open session. And we can't communicate amongst ourselves outside of this board and make any, about all the things we find out. So we have to devote our time to this. And I feel like it's really a huge distraction right now, and it's not needed. We have great leadership. That's all I'm saying, is that I'm not 100% opposed. I haven't met anyone else, you're right, and I have to be very pleased with Mr. Weldon, but we can do this later. That's how I feel about it, but anyway, we do have a motion. Does anyone else want to have anything?
But, I mean, I think you already seconded it, but we can have a vote, but, I mean, I'm happy to, I'll withdraw my motion, and, a board member can put this item on the December 1 agenda. That's what's so silly about this to me.
Right, well, this one, I actually put this on the agenda because we had received it in the mail.
Oh, yeah, I know
I'm the
why.
one that put it on there because I thought, yikes, she sent us a proposal, I need to send it to the board
Right.
members and we need to approve it. But she wasn't even going to explain it until December 1st, so why would we vote?
And
on
that's
something?
why I made a motion to put it on the December 1st meeting agenda.
Okay, well, I understand, but after hearing everyone speak tonight, and I still can't, when you feel that something's wrong with this, and, I'm one vote out of 5, but it still feels like we are not making the right decision on that, but we can choose that on December 1st, too.
So is there no action on this item?
This is an awkward, what do you think? I need,
We've had a motion,
We
and
have
I'd
a
like them
motion, so-
repeated.
okay.
I make the motion to table this item to the special meeting scheduled for December 1st.
Another motion's already been made and seconded.
That was my motion. That was seconded. Thank you, though.
Been seconded.
Well, seconded by Mickey.
Ms. Willis
He was
asked that it be
just repeating
repeated.
it. Yeah, he was repeating it. All right, roll call, please.
Kay Levy,
Yes.
Jack Cadenhead.
Yes.
Claudia Willis.
No.
Nikki Upton.
Yes.
And the only reason that, yes,
Okay,
we're moving on, I know. We can discuss this again. Okay, item 16, proposed executive session to discuss the employment of those certified and/or non-certified personnel listed in agenda item 20 pursuant to 25 Oklahoma Statute Section 307B1.
It's up to y'all if you want to or not. It's not,
I'll make a motion we do convene into executive session.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Kay Levy,
Yes.
Jack Cadenhead.
Yes.
Claudia Willis.
Yes.
Nikki Upton.
Everybody ready? Good? Okay. Item 18, consider and take necessary action to acknowledge the return of the board to open session. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we return from executive session.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Kay Levy?
Yes.
Jack Cadenhead?
Yes.
Claudia Willis?
Yes.
Vicki Upton?
Yes.
Item 19, we just discussed the superintendent's recommendations to employ the personnel as listed below. Item number 20, consider and take necessary action to accept the superintendent's recommendation to employ the certified, non-certified personnel as listed below. A, Amy Wilson, high school English. B, Tracy Marsack, Wilson classroom assistant. C, Alexis Warner, Wilson classroom assistant. And D, Isaac Harjo, custodian.
Make a motion, we accept the superintendent's recommendation and employ the personnel listed.
I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
Kay Levy?
Yes.
Jack Cadenhead?
Yes.
Claudia Willis?
Yes.
Vicki Upton?
Yes.
Item 21, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Kay Levy?
Yes.
Jack Cadenhead?
Yes.
Claudia Willis? Vicki Upton?
Yes.